Hi everyone, I want to take a few minutes to help you understand our Blackboard system that we'll be using this term. I know that some of you might be new to online education, or others of you, maybe it's been a while since you've had a class, or maybe you just need a little bit of a refresher. I'm going to go over a few of the Blackboard basics here, and then in another video I'll talk about some of the learning modules. So let's just start right here. When you enter the course, you'll find the announcements page, and that's always where you'll land when you click to enter this class. And your most recent announcements will be on the top, okay? And you'll just come right in, and this is what's going to show up. Now remember to always carefully read the announcements, because this is where your instructor is going to be posting important information about the week's tasks, about any key concepts, any reminders that your instructor has for you, and so you'll always want to read these carefully. Throughout the term, you'll have access to all of the announcements that have been posted. So from the first day all the way through the end, you'll be able to look at the announcements, refer back to anything that you think is important or that you want to revisit, and you can do that just by scrolling up and down just like this. Okay? And like I said earlier, usually the most recent announcement is going to be on the top, so focus your attention there, but you will have access to the other portions as well. Now, if you're ever in another part of the course and you want to return to the announcements page, you'll come over here to this menu and come down to this one and click on the announcements link, and it will bring you right back to this page, so you can access it at any time just by clicking on the announcements link. Next, let's take a look at the My Instructor. This is where you'll find contact information for your instructor. What you see will vary a little bit from instructor to instructor, but you'll definitely find your instructor's email address. This is the preferred method of private contact. If you have a question the whole class can see, we'll use the general questions, which I'll talk about in a moment, but use your instructor's email address. There may or may not be a phone number. If there is, just be respectful of your instructor's time. Make sure you're not calling at 3 in the morning or anything like that. Make sure you're not texting unless your instructor has indicated that that's okay, just to be respectful. There may or may not be office hours. Your instructor will always respond within 24 hours. But if there are office hours and you can kind of get close to those, you may receive a more timely response. So that's kind of just to work to your advantage. And then you'll find a little bit of information about your instructor here. But again, the key thing is you'll find that email address, and I actually would encourage you to write that down in case you're ever unable to access the course. Excuse me. Use email for private communication with your instructor, something about grades or extenuating circumstances. Those are the kinds of things that you'll want to reach out about. Now, if you have questions that anyone in the class can see, you're going to click here on this General Questions. This would be for something like an assignment deadline or a clarification, maybe even a policy question, or maybe you're having a textbook issue. Those are the types of things you can post here. This is something that the whole class will see and that you're not afraid for others to see and have access to. Okay. Now I'm going to narrow my screen a little bit so you can't see my students' names. Okay, so if you have a general question, or if you want to see the questions your classmates have been posting, you'll just click on this link. Okay, and here you'll see that you are able to, there are a lot of blue links, and if you want to view any of them, you'll simply click on the question. So I'm going to go with this first one because it's from me, not a student, and that way it won't be a privacy issue. But if I want to see what this is, deadline question, I might like to know what was said about that. I just click on the link, and it will bring up the question the person asked. Now, of course, the instructor would answer it, anybody else can comment and things like that, but this is where you'll find the information, the questions that your classmates have posted. Okay. If you want to post your own question, going back to that same page we started at, you can click Create Thread. I'm going to widen my screen back here so you can see what I'm doing. Okay, so now you should see the whole screen, and I would just type in my subject line for the question. If you can be specific, that might help your instructor. I'll just put Assignment 1 question. And then I'll come down here to the text box and I'll enter my question. What is the topic supposed to be? Of course, you'll want to ask thoughtful questions, but no question, will go unanswered by your instructor, but make sure that you're reading the rubrics, you're reading the instructions, you're checking out the syllabus, and then if you're uncertain or need some clarification, this is where you can post. Okay, so I've typed my question, and I'm going to come here and I'm going to click submit, and that is going to post my question right here. So here it is, and it's going to show up on the top because it's the most recent one. If I want to see what I've said, then I can come back here and click assignment 1 question. Of course, I haven't had a chance to answer this yet, but eventually there would be an instructor reply. And then if you want to respond either to the question your classmate asked, or maybe you figured out the answer to your own, or maybe after your instructor replies and you wanted to share your own reply as well, click on the reply button, and then it'll bring up this screen, and you can type in whatever your reply is. You might say, never mind, I figured it out. Or I might reply to my instructor, thank you for your help, or I still have a question, whatever it is. Okay, and then you'll do the same thing that you did earlier, and you'll just click submit. Okay, so there we have a little thread of things going on. Okay, so that is the general questions area. Also, another discussion we have is the class cafe. So I'm going to click here on this class cafe link. The class cafe is kind of an informal space where you can interact with your classmates. You might introduce yourself there. You might chat about how your papers are going, or anything like that. If you have something you want to share with the class about some of your research or a tip you have, this is a great place to put that. Sometimes I have my students say, hey, I found this awesome research tip, try this. That's a great place for this type of information to go. Just like with the general questions, you'll click the link to open it. And again, I'm going to narrow my screen really quickly. So I'll click on the link if I want to post something here. And again, here are all the posts that have already been posted. If I want to read one, I can just click on it. This one, I was the only one to post it, so I'll go ahead and open it. But this would just be a link, and I would just click on it, and it would open up the comments that have been made. If I want to post something on my own, then I do just like I did in the general questions, and I click Create Thread. And here's the screen that you'll see, and in here I would just type my subject, like hi everyone, and then come down here, type my message. My name is Hannah and I'm happy to be here. Okay, just like in the other one, I'll come over and click submit. And then here we are, I have my posting, hi everyone, and I could go back in and look at that. Other people could answer, and we can have a nice discussion. Okay, so that is the class cafe. That will be open throughout the term. Your instructor may pop in here and there, but it's mainly a student-driven space for you. Okay, another thing that we have, and I'm going to widen my screen again here just a moment, is the Ask a Librarian form. And one of the great things about this class is that we have a librarian who checks in on your questions every day, at least throughout the week. He doesn't always work all over the weekend, but if you're posting, he will respond to you. And there is a video here that you can click on that will help you understand the school's online library, which you'll be using for your research this term, but don't worry about that yet. You'll learn more later. But if you have a question when it's time to do your research, you just click on the Ask a Librarian thread. And like with the other forms, you'll click Create a Thread, and you'll type in your message and you'll submit it. And I'm not going to do this because I don't want Mr. Daniels to come in and answer a question I don't really have, or to be worried about that. But it's the same process that we used for the other thing. So I would type in my subject line, I would type in my message, and then I would click submit. Okay, you can expect a response. He's often very quick, especially during the week. Sometimes he responds in hours. It may take 24 to 48 hours, so I wouldn't wait until the absolute last minute if you have a question for our librarian. But he's fantastic. He can give you tips and guidance and advice, and you'll find a lot of information from Mr. Daniels. So I highly recommend that if you're having any research concerns, or you just want some other options, that you use this Ask a Librarian feature. Your reply will come directly back to this discussion forum, so he'll get in and he'll answer, and he will post his response to your question right here in the discussion thread. So if you do reach out, make sure that you double check back until you see a response, so that you're getting the information you need. The next one we're going to look at here, we can come down to My Grades. Now this will look, there's not really anything in here because this is just a preview user, but when you're in the gradebook, you'll see this kind of setup. Okay. Each assignment is listed out. Any assignments that have a rubric, you can click on View Rubric, and that will help you know how your assignments are going to be assessed ahead of time. But when this is actually filled out by your instructor, you'll see, oh, you got, exemplary here and needs improvement here, and it will actually show you the different point values that you earned. And then again, if things are actually submitted, you'll have options over here to look at your grades. I mentioned the assignment rubrics, and this is a place where you can get them conveniently. Click on the assignment rubrics link, and right here you have access to all of the assignment rubrics that will be used throughout the term. I know most of you will just be working within the given module, but it doesn't hurt to take a look at some of these, especially if you want to know where you're headed. Assignment 2, the persuasive essay document. This is the kind of big goal for the entire term. Take a look at that now and you can kind of see where you're headed, and it might help you with some of these earlier assignments. But any one you want to look at, sorry about this, you just click on the link and it will open the rubric for you in a tab, and it will have the directions for you. We'll have the rubrics and the point values, so you'll know exactly how you're being assessed on each of your assignments before you submit it. And again, all of the links are there. I'm not going to click on every one of them, but you can see that you know exactly what is expected of you. We also use something called Safe Assign, and this is where your instructor can check for original work to see if you have any either intentional or unintentional plagiarism. And so there's a little bit of information on that here if you're interested in checking that out. The next one, academic. Before we get there, let's go back up here to submit your assignments. So after you've looked at the rubrics and you know what's expected, you can come up here to submit your assignments. Now, we'll talk about the learning modules in another video, but for this, a lot of the times you're going to do your work in the module, and you're going to come back here to Blackboard to submit the work. So when you're ready to submit, you'll click on the link. If you want to look at the rubric again, you have access to it right here, and you can do that. And then you have the option to attach a file, and that's the option you want to use for this class. So you'll click Browse My Computer, and you'll pick whatever file you wanted to pick, and double click it here. Then if you want to add a note for your instructor, you may, but you don't have to. And then you can come down, move this a little bit to the Submit button, and click on Submit, and then your assignment will go through. Okay. And you'll know it's submitted because you'll see this. You see up here it says the assignment is complete. Review the submission history. Okay, and so that's what we have here. And it shows that it went through. You can also return to the My Grades portion, and you can see now, oh look, I submitted that assignment. Okay, it tells you when you submitted it. But it has this little icon. It means that your instructor has it, but it hasn't been graded yet. Okay, so let's look here just real quickly. We have the academic support. If you need to contact anyone for support, this is a great place to start. You can go to our online writing center. You can go to the learning community. You can use Smart Thinking. There are all these kind of research guides and citation helps. If you have a disability or think you may qualify, then you can reach out to our disability services. And then we also have student services here, and it tells you how to access those. And so I would encourage you, if you ever need any sort of support, to click on this academic support link and find what you need. If you're not sure about what these things do, or you need more help contacting them, feel free to reach out to your instructor, and he or she can give you more information about that. So I know that was kind of in some ways quick and in some ways long, little overview of a Blackboard and what you can do with each of these different components. So if you are new and you're having questions, I would just click on everything you can in the course. Start to get familiar with the different pieces of the class, and it'll become more familiar over time. If you ever get stuck, or if you have questions or something doesn't quite seem right, feel free to reach out to your instructor for additional help, and they will get you straightened out.